So ignoring the fact I spend most of my time on this channel mocking your strange and baffling history, making claims that humanity is ridiculous, and reiterating in new subtle ways that you are indeed the lower life forms, is there anything I can say that the human race did right?
Wow, BB, tell us what you really think.
Anyway, music. Yeah, you guys did good when you first blew into a hollowed-out animal bone and said to yourselves, "Man, I can do something with this." Congratulations. Enter Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, considered to be one of the greatest composers of the classical era. Although many symphonies, concertos, and operas have been penned by this musical genius, there's one particular piece I want to discuss today. Because no matter how I look at it, and no matter how much of a masterpiece you all say it is, it's still one of the most batshit things I've ever seen. It's a little racist, it's a little sexist, but it's opera.
I'm not sure what you're even trying to insinuate with that.
Yeah, me neither. I'm Vibby, and on this special episode of A Space Alien Explains, the Magic Flute. So, a bit of background before we dive headfirst into this beautifully composed show. The Magic Flute was Mozart's final opera, first premiering in Vienna in September of 1791. 2 months later, the composer died of... who the knows really, I'm not opening that can of worms today. The Magic Flute still remains a popular piece, with loads and loads of adaptations varying in quality and weirdness. You'll see what I mean soon, hang tight. The opera begins with a handsome prince lost in a distant land, being chased by a dragon as he screeches for the gods to save his sorry ass. He promptly passes out in fear. This sad son of a bitch is Tamino, and he's our main character. Better get used to him saving the day by doing nothing, because holy does he do that a lot. But before he ends up dragon food, 3 ladies appear and kill the serpent. Tamino's still passed out on the floor, but that doesn't stop the 3 ladies from fawning over his unconscious body. They think he's kinda hot and try to convince each other to leave so they'll be alone with him. Is anyone uncomfortable yet? Eventually, the 3 of them make a compromise and decide to all leave together. Tamino wakes up to the lovely voice of Papageno, a bird catcher singing about how his job is great, but he'd also really like to get his wet. I mean, he'd really like to find a wife. By the way, Papageno dresses like a bird, and that's something I'd like you to keep in mind. It becomes important in, the worst way ever. Anyway, Tamino introduces himself and asks Papageno if he was the one who killed the dragon. Papageno happily takes the credit, but the 3 ladies appear to show him what's up. You see, they're actually kinda his bosses. Instead of giving him his usual rations of wine, cake, and figs, the 3 ladies give Papageno water and rocks. They also put a padlock on his mouth as a punishment for lying. I don't even want to consider how it is they went about accomplishing that. As it turns out, the 3 ladies are servants of the Queen of the Night. The Queen of the Night's daughter Pamina was kidnapped by the demon Sarastro, and Tamino is just the handsome prince they need to rescue her. The ladies give Tamino a portrait of the damsel in distress, and he instantly falls in love. The Queen of the Night makes her appearance, and she promises to make Pamina his wife if he saves her from Sarastro. He couldn't save his own from a dragon, but sure he can go up against a demon. I see no fallacies in that logic. The ladies give Tamino a magic flute to assist him on his mission, and Papageno magic bells. Oh, and they took the padlock off him so he can talk now. We cut to Sarastro's palace where Pamina is dragged in by Sarastro's slaves. Apparently she tried making an escape and that up pretty bad. Monostatos, the chief of the slaves, has her chained up for some alone time. Is anyone uncomfortable yet? At the same time, Papageno has made it inside Sarastro's palace, and he's sneaking around trying to find Pamina. Tamino is elsewhere, just kinda doing all, I guess. Papageno finds Monostatos and Pamina, and here's where it gets a little racist. Monostatos is black, and Papageno has never seen a black man before. So when Papageno sees Monostatos for the first time, he has the kind of meltdown that puts Chernobyl to shame. Monostatos is also freaking out, but because of Papageno's questionable fashion choices. I told you him being dressed like a bird was important. They both run from each other in fear, but Papageno gets his together and goes back to rescue Pamina. Yeah, his reasoning is basically if black birds exist, then it makes sense that black people exist. So good on you, Papageno. Character development. We check in with Tamino, who has arrived at Sarastro's temple, where he meets an old priest. The priest tells him that Sarastro is not actually evil at all, and that Tamino should be cautious about trusting the Queen of the Night. This scene shows us that Tamino is a bigger idiot than we all could have possibly imagined, because he had to be told not to trust someone who has Of the Night as their title. He then starts playing his magic flute, and then animals appear and start dancing.
Is this an opera, or some kind of LSD-fueled fever dream?
Yeah, Tamino's doing a whole lot of nothing as usual. What's Papageno and Pamina up to? They were on the run, but Monostatos captured them again, whoops. But look! The bells will save us! Papageno rings his magic bells, and Monostatos and the slaves just start dancing themselves exit stage left.
Once again, opera, or LSD fever dream.
But oh Sarastro is coming! After a short debate on what they should do, Pamina decides it's best to confront him and tell the truth. She falls to her knees before Sarastro when he appears, and begs Daddy that she's sorry.
That's not how it went.
That's how it should have went. But like the old priest said, Sarastro is not a bad guy. Just ignore the fact he owns slaves. He's rather kind to Pamina and understands how she feels, but he admits he cannot return her to her mother. She's kind of a bad influence and insists that Pamina should have a man guiding her. Yeah, that's where it got sexist. Nice first impression, Sarastro. Monostatos appears again with Tamino in tow. Pamina and Tamino finally see each other for the first time and joyously embrace. While this is happening, Sarastro's followers are like,
Oh! Ew! Ew! What the fuck?
Anyway, Sarastro wasn't too happy about what Monostatos was trying to do to Pamina earlier, so he sends him away. He then tells Tamino that he must face a series of trials if he wants to be considered worthy to be Pamina's husband. And that is Act 1. We'll take a brief intermission before we begin Act 2, so take this time to grab a snack, take a piss, or whatever it is you do on your break time. Be sure to join us again in a little while, okay? Bye! Oh hey, you're back.
Get off me.
Act 2 begins with Tamino and Papageno being led to a temple where they will face their first trial. I have no idea how Papageno got roped into this, but he's participating in the trials now. The priests warn Tamino and Papageno of the dangers ahead and warn them not to talk to anyone. The three ladies suddenly appear and try to spook Papageno and Tamino into speaking. Papageno can't help but ask how the hell they even got in here, and Tamino tells Papageno to shut the up unless he wants to get smacked straight into the sun.
That's definitely not how that went.
Well, the ladies are hella confused about why Tamino isn't speaking to them, so they just kinda off. Skip to Pamina taking a nap. Monostatos finds her and leans in for a kiss.
Uncomfortable. Anyone?
But before he can actually do anything, the Queen of the Night appears, effectively scaring him off. Pamina and the Queen of the Night have a mother-daughter talk, and it's revealed that the Queen's husband, Pamina's father, was the previous owner of this temple. When he died, it was supposed to be handed over to the Queen, but instead he gave it to Sarastro. Yeah, the Queen's got some beef with him, so she tells Pamina to kill that temple-stealing son of a crazy-ass thing to be woken up by your mother for, but okay. The Queen leaves, Monostatos comes back to be creepy.
Uncomfortable!
And then Sarastro comes in. Sake, that's the third person that came in this room. Can't anybody let a nap? Sarastro tells Monostatos to GTFO, and Pamina begs him to forgive her mother for the attempted murder plot. Sarastro assures her that revenge has no place in his domain. Back to Tamino and Papageno, who are once again reminded by a priest not to speak. Papageno complains he's thirsty. Not sure which kind of thirsty.
both kinds of thirsty.
An old woman appears and she offers Papageno a cup of water. He takes it and jokingly asks the old woman if she has a boyfriend. She responds that she does, and that his name is Papageno. Cue Papageno spitting his drink. Tamino plays his flute, and suddenly a wild Pamina appears. She tries to speak to him, but because of his vow of silence, he cannot respond. Pamina believes Tamino doesn't love her anymore, and she runs away in tears. The priests are pretty impressed by Tamino's success so far. If making Pamina cry counts as a success, that bag pulled that off flawlessly. Tamino is brought in with Pamina, and both are instructed to say goodbye before the final trials. Neither of them seem to like the sound of that. Papageno comes in, and the priests give him wine as per his request. He then tells them he'd really like to get his wet. Find a wife. The old lady comes back with one hell of a solution. She says that she will imprison Papageno here forever unless he agrees to marry her. He immediately believes that she has any kind of power here at all, and reluctantly says yes. The old woman throws off her disguise, revealing that she's actually a young lady, and her name is Papagena. Is it weird that these priests conveniently have a woman around with the same name as our secondary character? Yeah, but it's Mozart, so don't question it, you heathens. Papageno runs to embrace her, but the priests hold him back, saying that Papageno isn't yet worthy to be her husband. Meanwhile, Pamina really wants to die. That's it. That's the scene. Two men in armor lead Tamino to his final trials. They reveal by reciting a creed that the next trials can be summed up as attempted murder. But that doesn't faze Tamino at all, and he responds with a hearty, "Bring it, b****s." Pamina calls out to him. The guys in armor inform Tamino that he's free to speak to her now, as the trial of silence is over. The first thing that comes out of Pamina's mouth is, "I want to do the trials with you." Didn't you hear what they just said? We could die. Sweet. Pamina hands Tamino the magic flute, and they proceed through the trials together. The flute protects them from death by burning and death by drowning, and upon exiting the murder chambers unscathed, the couple are invited inside the temple. Meanwhile, Papageno also really wants to die. He goes a step further than Pamina, though, and attempts to go the way of Doki Doki Literature Club. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention there's another trio of characters called the Child Spirits, and they appear occasionally throughout the plot. I never bothered to mention them at all because they don't do jack shit. Except for this part right here, where they go, "Papageno, just ring the f***ing bells, you idiot!" He rings the magic bells one last time. And a wild Papagena appears, and they sing the cutest damn duet ever. About literally all the sex they're going to have. So not much different than the usual bird song, I guess. Menostatos, the queen, and the three ladies appear outside the temple, ready to raise hell and get revenge on the slimy cult birds inside. But before they can even go on with their plans, they are magically cast out into the night. Pask, do me a favor. Look up the definition for Deus Ex Machina.
Deus Ex Machina, Latin for God from the machine, is a plot device whereby a seemingly insolvable problem in a story is suddenly and abruptly resolved by an unexpected and seemingly unlikely occurrence, typically so much as to seem contrived.
Perfect. Sarastro praises the sun and the animals appear again and start dancing. It ends. That's how it ends.
I can confirm that is indeed how it went.
Gotta get that one last LSD trip in. So, Mozart, what in the literal high holy were you trying to say with this? If I could take a guess, I think it's something like, not all people are meant to be great, but everyone can find happiness. Look at Tamino. Name one thing he did to push forward or alter the course of the plot. Go on. I'll wait. And yet he still got into Sarastro's super exclusive cult. Papageno failed the trials, but he still managed to get his find a lovely wife to spend his life with. He's not great, but at least he's happy.
False. Papageno is the best. He saved Pamina and is easily the funniest character in this whole damn show.
I don't disagree, but what I personally take from this is, don't do drugs, kids, or you'll write an opera about a prince who ultimately does nothing, his racist friend who dresses like a bird and is thirstier than the world's driest cactus, and a horde of dancing LSD animals. I can't confirm if Mozart actually took drugs. I want to give my sincere thanks to all of my viewers, subscribers, followers, and supporters. It's been 1 year since I started A Space Alien Explains, and the first year is closing out strong with over 5,000 subscribers. As of writing this script, we've also been approved for the Partnership Program, which is a pretty big milestone for anyone running a YouTube channel. I feel like we've accomplished a lot in the first year, and it's all thanks to you guys. You're the reason we've gotten this far. So from the bottom of my cold, dead, alien parasite heart, thank you. I'm excited to see what year 2 of the channel brings us. But no matter what happens, I'm bringing you all on the ride with me, so God help us all. Hi everyone! Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. This week's featured fan art is by CringeNote on Twitter. Link to the artist's page is in the description. And here's some comments from the last video. If you found this retelling at all entertaining, please be sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. If you'd like to support the channel, I have art commissions and a Ko-Fi page available. Buy me a coffee and I'll make you a little sketch as a way of saying thanks. Links to all that, as well as links to my social media, are in the description. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you real soon.